Hello, Miamisburg High School staff. Just wanted to provide a few quick updates for the month of July as more and more information is coming out about the return to school. Just wanted to give you a few things to think about, consider, let you know kind of what we're working on um, as we're leading up to the start of the school year. So physical distancing, I know there's a lot of concern out there about remaining being 6 feet apart and trying to spread out desks and chairs enough in the classroom to keep people separated. We got some further guidance yesterday in one of our administrative meetings that really helped me to kind of relax a little bit in terms of that. Um, the big word, the key word, and something we're going to have to remind ourselves of throughout the school year is to be reasonable. So even with the health department, they are saying have a reasonable space between your students. So they're not really giving a set number when it comes to how many feet, which to me that helps me to relieve some stress a little bit. So within your classroom, think through that. How can I reasonably separate them to make it as safe as possible to do the best you can with the space that you have? Um, so don't maybe think of it's got to be the 6 feet or 5 or even 3 feet, but just think of, okay, how can I do this reasonably um, to allow enough space to make it safe and to allow this to work in my class on how I like to teach. Um, and there's some things there that we can give some more guidance on when uh, students are working on different assignments and activities, and we can go into more detail on that. But just the physical distancing part, just be reasonable, and flexibility throughout this school year is going to be very, very important, as I'm sure we will have to problem solve um, throughout the school year on making things better and improving situations. So just keep that in mind. Be reasonable, be flexible, and we'll work through it. In terms of personal items and furniture, try to the best you can. If you do have personal items or furniture in your classroom, to remove those. It just helps create a little bit more space in your classroom that will help us with spreading students out the best that we can. So if you do have some things in your room, or if you want to ask me to walk down to your room and ask me questions on if things need to be moved, or I can do that. So just let me know. But try the best you can, remove personal items and furniture out of your classroom. All right, so we got some news yesterday. It's kind of it was some tough news to take, to be honest. Our after school program, we were told due to financial reasons, um, there's been some different cuts given to us, or some challenges that our district and all districts are facing based on some state cuts and things. So we're feeling the weight of that, just like every other district around us. So due to those financial reasons, our after school program will not be occurring at least through the first semester. We are really kind of working through maybe some other possibilities, or trying to brainstorm some other ways of doing things to help support those students, especially the seniors or to be seniors. So the conversation is not over, and we're still kind of working through that. But at this time, we will not be having the typical after school program like we had this year or this past year, at least through the first semester. Um, the students who were in that can choose the remote learning or the in-person learning. And Bob is going to be working through that list of students. He's going to be contacting families and the students impacted and working through that list. A return to school building plan, we will be sending that out. I'm hoping sometime late next week or maybe the week after, with specifics on our procedures and routines, and it'll summarize a lot of the information that you probably already aware of from different task force meetings and different committees. But it also might help establish some of the routines that we're going to have throughout the building. For instance, in terms of locker use, or in terms of students entering the bus entrance or exiting the building and things of that nature. So we will get that to you once it's finalized and completed. There's also going to be a staff survey coming to you early next week. It's really just for us to kind of see where you're at, what your feelings are, what your ideas, what are some things that are kind of stressing you out at this moment, or things that you're thinking of, or ideas you have to share. So we're going to get that out to you, and I would love for everybody to fill that out. That'll give me a good indication of the thoughts that are going on, but it also help us with planning for that August 10th week when our staff is back together without students, and that'll help us to kind of plan those activities that we're going to have that week. Things to consider, and maybe even to begin working on, or if you've already started working on it, to continue to do so. The bird culture, that is what we're calling what we worked on last year as a staff. Um, we kind of came up with our core values, our belief statements, and everybody had a chance to provide their input on those. We took all of those different core values and were able to bring it and really wrap it into three. So you'll see that the main words there, you'll see the journey, the potential, and even the relationships. Those are what we consider the three major beliefs or core values of our staff, of our building, and that's kind of what we will stand on as we move forward here over the next 3 to 5 years. With that, there are behaviors that we think we should see or we would expect to see from everyone involved, students, staff, everybody. And, if you look at everyone has a unique journey, okay, you got three behaviors there. If we're really believing that everyone is on a unique journey, well, then we should definitely recognize and embrace all the differences. We should build on strengths. We should work on setting goals and following our path or your path. If we believe that everyone has potential, we should embrace new challenges and work on finding our passion and our students' passion in learning. Students should strive to do their best. There should be responsibility taken for actions. And then you can go through and see the ones for the relationship as well, the respect and investing time to care and listen and making those positive connections. Those behaviors, we're not obviously perfect on any one of those, and some of those we're farther along on than others. So that will definitely give us some things to work on and focus on over the next several years. But we will definitely highlight a couple of those at the start of the school year that we want to make sure students are aware of, and we will do our best in teaching those behaviors to our students and making that a part of our classrooms and really throughout the entire school. And then you can see the outcomes. The outcomes I look at is, if we believe this, and if we behave in this way, we should then experience this outcome. And I look at the outcome as kind of our culture. That is our culture statement. If somebody were to ask me, what's Miamisburg all about? What's Miamisburg High School all about? I would say, well, we feel valued there. People feel valued there. We're constantly growing. There's improvement. We're still working, and we're stronger together. There's a team atmosphere. So those three statements there, we should maybe not right away because I know there's still work to do, but we should start to see these outcomes come to life. So that bird culture you can start implementing in your classroom management plan. You can start thinking about how I want to incorporate that into my classroom. But that is something that we're going to talk about to the point where you're sick of hearing about it throughout the school year and beyond. Speaking of that classroom management plan, be working on that. That is something I will have everybody share. Also, think of the essential questions that were created by one of our focus groups last year, and they continue just to add questions to it. I think it's a great tool. I really believe it's valuable. Go through, see if you can answer the questions that they pose, If you can't, then it might be an area that you might need to change or adapt your classroom management plan to make it answer that question. You really should be able to at least think through those questions. I'm not saying all of those answers have to be in your plan that you share with me, and it wouldn't be um, feasible to do that. That would be a pretty long written plan. But what I'm saying is you should at least think through those questions and know how you would answer them or know how you would respond. And then some of those would be reflected into your classroom management plan. All right, last thing there, Google Classroom, that's something else that you could be working on. There's some things that were just released this week from Stacy and maybe from other teachers of ways to set your Google Classroom up, ways to organize it. And I know there's some professional development going on. I think is even starting this week and into next week. So if you are a little uncomfortable with Google Classroom, or if you just want to learn more about it, jump on one of those. I think we have 3 of our high school teachers teaching those. So I don't want to miss anybody, but I think Megan Newton, Bren, and Betsy are teaching teaching 3 out of the um, 2 or 3 out of the 4, I think it is. So I really appreciate them, and those are great resources, people to reach out to, and I know there's others on the staff that you could talk to if you really needing help. But it's important to get that set up because let's all be honest, there's a real good chance that we will be going full remote at some point this school year. At least that's my opinion. But anyway, that's all I have for you. I look forward to seeing all of you. Hopefully, you enjoy your last couple of weeks. And I just want to provide that quick update. If you have any questions or need anything, please reach out. Look forward to seeing you and stay safe.